Welcome to Moon Harbor Extended. Today's issue is Days Errant Issue 1, Going Deeper. On the cover, Voila, Velveteen, and Solar Flare stand in a bubble on the ocean floor, deep underwater. Voila shuffles a pack of cards, and Velveteen wears the magic hat, while Solar Flare leads the way as a guiding light. We turn the page, and our story begins.
Okay, so we're going to open with Chunta. It's a Saturday morning, like maybe 11 a.m. What are you up to?
Probably practicing magic tricks. Like, even after getting intense magical powers, I'm still really into sleight of hand.
That's absolutely adorable, and I love it. Are you just like practicing alone in your room?
That works for me.
What does that look like on the page? Like, how does he do his card tricks?
I'm probably in full costume, just like standing in the middle of my room, presenting to a full-length mirror, and just over and over trying to do like just a coin hide in my hand.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Can the issue open with you like in front of a full audience doing like these amazing magic tricks? And then like we get a different panel of you in front of a mirror with like 3 stuffed animals lined up and doing just like basic coin magic.
I'm super into it.
So while you are in the middle of a card trick, I think like it's one where your hands are super busy and there's cards in the air. Your phone starts ringing.
I think, yeah, we get a moment where the phone rings. I've kind of like tossed some cards in the air when the phone rings, and I snap, and they all just kind of hover in position, and I go grab my phone.
Do you answer it right away?
Yeah, I think so. Probably without looking.
Excellent. Good to know about your character.
Yeah, I just flip over the phone. Hello?
Hi, is this a Voila?
I think at this point I look at pull the phone back and look at it to see if I can see who's calling.
It's restricted.
Maybe?
I'm sorry, I should have introduced myself first. My name is Maria de la Cruz. I work with Saber.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, this is Voila. I get a bit like deeper voice.
Yeah, you guys were the ones that fought with the Rat Lords a few weeks ago. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I think at this, I'm gonna like pound on the wall to the adjoining room a couple times.
Oh man, are you guys both in there? Solar Flare and Cass.
Yes, and I like to think that the panel is just, it doesn't even cut through. There's just the bubble we understand to be solar flares of what?
What are you guys up to in the other room?
I'm in full rabbit form in my hutch. So I think when we cut over to the room, the first thing we see is a close-up on the rabbit with like a mouthful of like alfalfa. And I have like a speech bubble, but it's not speech because I'm a rabbit. So it's like you see me go to like talk, but nothing comes out, just like bunny noises, squeaks and shit.
Munch, munch, munch.
Munch, munch, munch.
That's adorable. Do you guys do anything when Chuta knocks on the wall?
I think I'll probably go over there in a minute. I'm not quite moving yet.
Solar Flare, did you want to do anything, or should we hop back over to Junta?
Oh, we can hop back over. I'm just yelling. I don't have enough manners to move yet.
Yep, that's just how it is if you're learning how to be a human person or to interact with them. Okay, so Chunta, Maria de la Cruz starts talking to you, and she's kind of not frantic, but like scattered. Like she's trying to explain the situation, but is also kind of going all over the place. Yeah, so I thought that I'd call you guys since you guys face the Rat Lords, and I don't know if you've been paying any attention to everything going on in Moon Harbor, but like Saber is swamped. Like we had a situation and I need help, and I think it's the Rat Lords. So I figured I'd call you guys.
Yeah, 1 second, and I pound on the wall even harder. This is bringing back visceral childhood memories, by the way, because when I lived in the basement, my family would call me by just stomping on the ceiling. That's the energy I'm going for.
Absolutely amazing. Are you guys coming over yet, or should we keep talking with this phone conversation?
My proposal, and feel free to veto me on this because I think it's the kind of I feel like this is the only kind of thing that she would do knowing that it was allowed and acceptable at this point because they're roommates, but I do like the mental image of Solar Flare just like scooping them up and walking into the room with a whole bunny in her hand.
That's so cute.
I do not veto that. That sounds great.
Fantastic. When they come in, I put my phone on speaker and set it down on the desk.
I work with our special weaponry and armory department, and we recently had a break-in, and I highly suspect that it was the Rat Lords, at the very least on a brief cursory look back at the security footage before it was cut out. It sure looked like a Rat Lord. I feel kind of weird reaching out to some teenagers, but also like everybody at Saber kind of thinks the Rat Lords are a bit of a joke, regardless of what happened at the mall a few weeks ago. Are you guys willing to come in and help?
I would just like to protest that everyone is immediately blaming the rodents. I personally think that, it could have been any number of humans who just looked like rats.
Velveteen, I think we can be pretty clear. Those are rats.
We said that the Rat Lords are humans that ride on rats.
My point still stands. I just think it's a bit speciesist for you to immediately blame the Rat Lords and their noble, beautiful steeds.
It's just that there were definitely some rats on the security footage.
That's fine. We'll be on our way.
Awesome. So this is not one of the more public Saber facilities. Could you guys meet me at the bay? We kind of have to get in the hard way.
Well, I'm not a very good swimmer, but sure.
Oh, don't worry about swimming. We got that covered.
I'm happy to end the scene there and just cut to the bay.
How do you guys get there?
Asking all these hard questions that we totally should have expected. Oh,
Does Solar Flare have like a Kirby craft thing?
No, she doesn't, and so I want to propose that we all just have to take the bus.
I'm okay with bus.
Is
I love-
Castle a rabbit?
No, I turned into a person.
So we got two people and a fire person on the bus.
Just chilling. She's just there.
I think
think-
I probably turned back into a rabbit for the bus, so I'm not taking up someone's seat.
And so we don't have to pay for you.
Also, if you don't have to pay for me.
Okay, so we definitely get a fun panel where you guys are sitting awkwardly on the bus and there's several just regular people on the bus staring at you guys like, what in the world? Yes, we're used to superheroes, but this is a very weird image.
Oh yeah.
Solar Flare doesn't even have the decency to be awkward about it. She's just her regular usual expression. She's just standing on holding to one of the poles and no one else can touch it because it's too hot to put your hands on now.
Okay, so at the bay, you guys find Maria de la Cruz waiting for you guys, kind of just at the harbor itself. She's a Latina woman, Dominican in her early 50s. And she sees you guys since you guys are pretty easy to spot and you don't know what she looks like. And she kind of waves over at you guys.
I'm in full costume, if that wasn't clear.
Oh, I figured.
Okay, cool.
Since
Yeah,
you're already
I-
just doing that for magic tricks alone in your room.
I think my default when I become person form is just full costume.
I think that's her. I'll start making my way over.
Hi, voila. Hi, it's Maria, and she holds out a hand to shake it.
I'll shake it.
And then she offers her hand to the rest of the team. She's not gonna ignore you guys. Which honestly, I'm kind of interested how that goes for Solar Flare.
It's an uncomfortably warm experience. She does shake her hand back, but Solar Flare's technology allows her to make contact with people. It's just now Maria has a sweaty hand.
I was thinking more you have 4 arms. Which one do you use?
I feel oh man, no, it's been a little while, so Solar Flare mostly has the art of the handshake down, so a decently smooth. It's the top right arm that gets the handshake, and now Maria's hand is sweaty.
Excellent. Oh, okay. That's my first time shaking hands with somebody made of fire. That's really fun.
I turn from rabbit form back to person form and like fling the cape out dramatically behind me as I like sort of bow and like shake her hand. It's very, very unnecessarily regal and over the top.
I think Maria is a little bit flustered by all of this.
Good.
Why don't we walk a little bit a ways, just so we're out of sight of like downtown Moon Harbor. And she starts to kind of lead the way, like down the pier and off towards like not like a sketchy side of the harbor, but just not populated. So let me just explain a bit about where we're going because I don't want you guys to freak out. The base that got broken into is underwater. We have a base like in the middle of the bay. And like I totally have a way to get us down there. Oh gosh, one of you is just fire. I'm so sorry. This was so inconsiderate of me. Or like you won't get wet. Are you gonna be cool with that?
I guess I have to be.
That was just kind of thoughtless of me. I have like a really cool like device. Like you won't have to get wet. You can breathe. It's gonna be fine. Oh God, yeah. Fire needs oxygen. We'll be fine.
I don't really breathe.
I think I'm just so enamored with Saber paying attention to us that I'm not really asking many questions right now.
Once we get down, you can see what I'm talking about with the rat lords. But and I think we get a panel that kind of shows like, okay, there's nobody around, and Maria kind of goes so that way her feet are just touching the water, and she presses a button on like on her wrist, and it doesn't look like it does anything, but as she gets near to the water just starts repelling away from her like Moses parting the rivers. It's staying 10 feet away from her.
I love that.
You guys might want to stay close.
I'm immediately a little too close to her. Not in like an overwhelming, intentionally way. I just don't like big bodies of water because I am but a small rabbit.
I'm following along just a couple feet behind.
Solar Flare, how do you feel about this? You're made of fire.
I like to think that there's just a little bit where she kind of kicks lightly at the water, and there's a little sizzle of steam, and she makes a face like she stepped in something gross, and then follows along.
So then I think we get a bunch of like cool panels, like I think an entire page of you guys walking down the base of the bay, like on the floor of the bay. And as you guys get deeper and deeper, it turns out the device is basically making a bubble around you guys, like a semicircle that goes about 10 feet in each direction. So I think by the time we get to the bottom of the page, you guys are completely underwater. And then looking ahead, you can see like a small dome with like a water lock chamber jutting out from it. So as you guys walk down, you kind of get to the door of the water lock chamber, and Maria starts like there's like one of those cranks that she starts turning to open it up, and it's maybe like a 10 by 10 room, so everybody can fit in pretty nicely. And Maria goes like close the door, and then the water starts to drain, but it's also kind of like kept away from the dome, so it takes like 5 seconds before the door across the way opens up, and there is an elevator. Yeah, it's a bit of a ways down. We're trying to, not have a flooded base. That's the goal. And Maria goes in and stands next to the buttons.
So the rat lords are all the way down here?
Well, there are lots of tunnels under the city, and I mean, they likely go under the bay as well.
Yeah, they broke in from below, which is kind of impressive considering how deep this goes.
I mean, I heard there's a full underground city underneath Moon Harbor. I heard that There's a whole race of people who live down there. So, those tunnels are pretty deep.
I mean, we were kind of thinking the sewers, since like they go out into the water. I'm not too familiar with how sanitation works, but that was my rough guess. Anyway, and she pushes a button, like, I guess partway down, if there's like 10 floors or whatever. I think we get several panels of just how long this elevator ride is.
I'm practicing that coin hide the whole time.
Chuta, are you like pulling it out from somebody's ear, or are you just like having fun?
Just flipping around in my hand and trying to like do the right palming.
Maria looks like a bit confused, but like, oh, that's a neat trick.
Can I roll to charge my burn?
Yeah.
All right, so starting off with a 6, starting this first game off with an almost success, but it's definitely still a failure.
Hell yeah. Starting that first game with some potential.
All right, I'm definitely afraid, and I think I'm angry and insecure.
Going through a lot of emotions right off the bat.
What does it look like when Velveteen charges air burn?
So Velveteen is covered in like a thin layer of brown fur just across the whole body, their whole body. And it like stands up on edge. Their ears like perk up, and they've got like kind of like white swirling magic, very cloud-like traditionally. So you see the like white clouds basically start like rippling from ears down the back of their neck and then end up at their hands. Now that I have those 2 burn to hold, or those, 2 burn, I want to spend one of them and use Snatch and take that coin. So you like flip it up to do a trick with it, and while you're not necessarily looking at it, I just like snatch it out of the air.
I glare over at you like, is this really the appropriate you? Okay, never mind.
I think like when you say never mind, there's the ding of the elevator and the doors open up, and you are facing down a long hallway. Maria steps out and immediately lets you guys know that a lot of this is classified, and you guys have to go straight to where straight to where she's taking you, and that is it. And she is like constantly like looking back behind her at you guys. Like she's not quite sure if she's supposed to be doing this. And so she takes you to a room like about halfway down the hallway, and then punches in some buttons at a code of the door, and the door opens.
Can I pay attention to that enough to see what she punches in?
Do you want to do an assess?
Yeah, sure.
Session 1, and we're already planning a fucking break-in.
It's good to know. It's good to know.
Cool. 7 to 9, ask 1.
Am I able to catch the code? I'm not sure if there's a question that quite.
I think that can fall into like, what here can I use to I think that's a simple enough. Yeah. You
Okay,
you
cool.
catch the code, and then if you ever want to use it, you get that +1.
I will make a note of it.
And I also say that you don't know if this code applies to anywhere else in the building.
That's fair.
Cool. So the door opens, and you see a large storage room that looks not the most frequently used, but like a quick glance, you know that, oh yeah, something totally broken here. There is a large hole in the middle of the room with like the floor tiles are pointed upwards, like somebody drilled through it. There's dirt and mud all over the floor. A bunch of crates have been opened. There's like loose items all across the floor. And so Maria turns to you guys and says, this is where we keep a bunch of our old projects. Like some were kind of left half completed, and like others we finished, but we never really got around to using them. This is just kind of where we store old stuff. And so last night we saw a giant rat burst through the floor, and some smaller ones. And then a rat crawled across the security camera, and the feed went dead.
I'm starting to kind of like poke at some of the stuff that's left. Like, what did they take?
That is something that I'm trying to work on. I wanted to get some help since I am not a fighter in any capacity. I wanted somebody to be able to look into this before I started doing an inventory. Like, there's definitely a decent amount of stuff missing, but I haven't gone through with checking everything with our current inventory yet. What do you guys do?
I think I'm going to look at the group and be like, So we're going down in the hole then.
At that, I'll look at Maria. Is that the plan?
I mean, I was hoping you guys would do it, but like, I just need some help here.
Excellent. I jump in the hole.
You just straight up jump in the hole
Yep.
without looking to see how deep that is.
Yep.
Cool. Can you roll to take a powerful blow?
Can
You-
Solar Flare can fly. Can she go after them?
I was going to use my second burn to use move, which is my other flare. You can spend one burn to move to any place you choose within the scene, breaking through or slipping past any barriers or restraints in your way. So, like, once I saw the ground, I was going to, like, magically just kind of, like, land, essentially, like, stop my fall and land gently.
I kind of think it would be cool to do both of them. Like, you do that, and then Solar Flare goes and tries to get you.
Cool.
There's just like an immediate follow-up after that gentle land of her like appearing right above them, looking a little harried, and then they just land real gentle, and she's like,
How far down is that hole?
It's about 40 feet.
Oh, perfect.
From the top of the hole, can we get a like speech bubble from Voila that just says like all capital letters levitate, and then I just slowly float down. I think my cape is billowing far more than it should be.
I really want like a bottom up panel that's showing Voila descending with like the cape billowing.
I'm into it.
We get enough overhead shots. We should get an underhead one. Solar Flare, do you like illuminate light? I think that's a good question because it's kind of dark down here.
yes, I do. So I am just, unfortunately, a walking flashlight at all times. Velveteen gets no sleep.
Like how far does it extend? Is it just like kind of super close to your body, or can like you see a decent amount ahead?
She's literally a star, so the bracers do enough to keep her from blinding anybody who's right nearby, but the light does go out pretty far.
Okay, because there's otherwise not much light around, so I love that Solar Flare is the main source of light here. So what you see by the light of Solar Flare is behind you, it's like there's a dead end. But in front of you, about like 20 feet down this tunnel, there is a cave-in. What do you do?
How big is the cave in?
It spans like the entire width of the tunnel. You don't know how deep it goes.
Are there like cracks between the boulders that have fallen, or is it like just solid?
There's definitely cracks.
I'm going to turn into a rabbit.
Amazing.
And I'm going to try to navigate through the cracks, see what I can see on the other side.
Are you able to see much on the other side, like without Solar Flare?
Rabbits have really good night vision. Like, they've got really good vision in the dark. So, yeah, probably I'm fine.
I have no idea about rabbit anatomy, so yeah, sure.
It's all that beta carotene.
I eat a lot of carrots.
Carrots are supposed to only be a treat. So on the other side of the cave-in, it looks like this tunnel has been dug out, but I think you can see what looks like from that far away, like it might just be the regular sewers.
Cool. Can I assess the situation and see if I can see anything else?
Yeah.
That is a 9.
Awesome. On a 7 to 9, ask 1. Also, I love how you spent all of your burn like immediately before getting into like any potential combat.
I can recharge. What here is the biggest threat?
So you're definitely alone on the other side. I think what you determine as the biggest threat is the fact that this tunnel looks recently dug. So there is something that dug a tunnel specifically to get to the space.
Can I tell from where I am if the cave-in looks intentional?
Absolutely.
Cool. I'm going to bounce back through, get to the side of the cave-in, and relay that information. Well, on the other side of this, it leads to this regular sewers, it looks like. It very much looks like someone dug a tunnel to get to Saber headquarters, or the Saber sphere underwater, or whatever it is. They collapsed the tunnel to make sure we couldn't follow them.
How deep's the collapse?
How deep's the collapse?
It was only like 5 feet thick. It's not much.
It's like 10 feet, 20 feet thick. It's almost impassable, but I managed to make it through.
Oh my god.
So, I mean, we could maybe move the rubble, but we also could just going through the sewers.
I can move this rubble. And I'd like to charge my burn. So I close my eyes for a moment, and I'm going to roll.
Ooh,
That's how a real Nova does it, with an 11.
damn, okay. So what does it look like when Voila charges his burn?
When he opens his eyes, they're glowing, and the pupils on one eye, the pupil in one eye has been replaced with a diamond, and on the other eye, a spade. I think that's probably the only change when his burn's charged.
I love that so much.
And I'm gonna pull a deck of cards out, throw it into the air, and I'm gonna spend a burn to use constructs.
Cool,
And
cool, cool.
I'd like the deck of cards to form into basically just a big drill and drill through. Does that work?
Yeah, though I'm curious, does it just look like a regular drill, or is it still card patterned?
Still card pattern, still if you look closely, made of individual cards. It's just holding that shape.
Amazing.
And I think
Can we-
actually I think there's 2 burns to animate it independently.
I think on the panel when it starts drilling through, there's a bunch of cards flying out of it. So it's throwing out dirt rubble, and then there's also just cards.
I love it.
And yeah, that passes through the 5 feet of rubble fairly easily.
When I see that it's 5 feet, I'm not going to say anything, but I definitely shoot a pointed look at Velveteen.
I don't have enough tact to not say anything. So that didn't look like 10 feet.
Distances are really irrelevant and relative when you're that small. You know, what is a foot for a mouse or a rabbit?
Or you just wanted to sound cool.
Have you already just disbanded the drill?
If you don't want me to have, I will have not.
Nah, leave it up. I want to just flick my wrist and just send all the cards just flying everywhere.
52 pickup.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, voila, you have now made a passage through this cave-in. What do you do?
Well, I'm not giving Velveteen the satisfaction of picking up this card, so I'm just going to walk through.
And on the other side, you see the same thing that Velveteen did.
I'm going to turn back and yell through, y'all coming?
I think Solar Flare had just gone through while they were being shitty to each other about cards. She's just I don't have time for this, and she goes. Also,
Left in the dark.
Also, Willa absolutely doesn't see anything while she's still on the other side, and she knows this.
That's fair.
Cool. So you guys gonna keep heading down that tunnel?
Yep.
I'm going to write a note on a card really fast. And by write a note, I mean I'm just going to blink at a card and a note's going to appear in beautiful handwriting. That's tunnel connected to the sewers, going to check it out. And I'm just going to toss it behind me and let it fly itself up the 40-foot hole to her.
That's really cool.
I'm a responsible hero. That's why the Coven wants me.
Damn, we're really getting into starting shit right off the bat. I love it.
Oh, I didn't say that out loud. That was out of character.
Yeah, so about 30 feet down, the tunnel intersects with just the regular sewers. And it's kind of the end of the line here. You can kind of, if you look to your right, you can see, okay, this is where all of the water is going just to get out into the ocean. But it otherwise looks fairly deserted.
Are there non-wet places to walk?
Yeah, on one side there is an elevated platform, so you don't have to walk in whatever is in there.
I'm gonna wrinkle my nose, which is kind of precious because I still have a rabbit nose. And I'm the one bad thing about having heightened animal senses is just how awful it smells down here.
I'm gonna take your word for that.
Oh, is Solarflare not able to smell?
I'm making that ruling right now. She can't smell. She does not have enough organs to smell.
I'm actually going to turn to Solar Flare and ask, wait, can you smell things?
Why would I be able to smell things?
I just hadn't thought about it before.
She obviously doesn't have enough organs to smell things.
Okay, well, Velveteen, can you smell the rats? It's a maze down here.
I can try. If I'm going to extend my senses, I should probably unleash my powers.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
And that was a 12.
I guess, what does that look like when Velveteen is trying to use their senses, their rabbit senses?
I think we're going to get a close-up on Velveteen's human face, and their nose is just going to twitch a couple times, and their ears are going to, like, twitch a couple times. In, like, I think it's, like, a bunch of really small panels, all just in close-up. And then when I open my eyes, they are glowing green for a minute, and then I close my eyes again.
You're picking up signals all over the place.
Can I track the primary, like, the biggest direction?
Yeah, what you're getting is that there was definite movement going into the tunnel and then out of it. And you can pick up like lots of peripheral senses. Like in general, there's just rats all over this place. But there is a path that is going straight down from where you guys are to your left.
That's what I'm going to point then. I think I'm going to be like, all right, so we're walking towards giant rats and knights from the sewers, and we're walking with a beacon of light. So, does anyone have like a blanket with them to just cover her up really quickly?
It doesn't work that way, and you know it.
Yes, you're right, I do. I've got the bags under the eyes to prove it.
We've reinforced your hutch so many times, and the light still gets in there.
There is literally nothing I can do about it.
All right, well, we don't have the element of surprise then, so, what do we say? Go hard or go home? And I take off down the tunnel in the direction I just pointed.
I would also like to point out that back at that signal light, when we came up with the alligator in the sewers, that we are going to have a running gag of, in any issues that take place in the sewers, that the alligator would sometimes show up in the background in panels. I just wanted to bring that up so that way you guys know that yes, in these panels, every now and then, there will be the alligator in the background. Not relevant to anything, it's just there.
Moon Harbor Extended is part of the Icy New Year Presents network and is produced by Anthony Sheets and TP Huth. Anthony can be found on Twitter at Icy New Year or at icynewyear.com. T is the host of Incubator on Air, a new play podcast available on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Play. She can be found at T Huth Playwright on Twitter or TPHuth94 on Instagram. Days Errant is GM by Elliot Peterson. She can be found at Elliot Ylen on Twitter. Chunta is played by me, Anthony Sheets. Rainer is played by Kaido Kane. Kaido is a Twitch personality and loves their 3 mischievous cats. You can find them at The Versian on Twitter and as Kaido Kane on twitch.tv. Solar Flare is played by Courtney. You can find her on Twitter at Adramadam. Velveteen is played by T. Huth. Our logo was designed by Beautiful Beasties. She can be found on Instagram at beastly.doodles or at patreon.com/beautifulbeasties. The music from this issue is Call to Adventure by Kevin MacLeod. A link to his website and license will be in the show notes. If you want to get a hold of us, email us at moonharborheroes@gmail.com or find us on Twitter at moonharborcast. If you enjoyed this issue, please leave us a review on iTunes and tell a friend. Word of mouth and 5-star reviews are really the best way for us to keep bringing these stories to more people. If you'd like to support us financially, check us out on patreon.com/moonharborheroes. Supporting us there will give you access to bonus episodes each month. And thanks for helping us save the world. We'll see you next issue.